Jungkook grinned, and once he took his car to open roads, he suddenly picked up a pace. Wine found a few more exotic cars appearing out of nowhere, and they were now competing against each other. Wine really wondered why would he come at this hour to take his car from the car wash. Now she understood. He had his plans with his friends. The roof of the car opened up and the cold air hit the two. Wine let her hair fall loose, and something about the adrenaline rush, the car drifting, the car chase, and these boys screaming at each other, having fun, was making her happy. She let out a yell of happiness when Jungkook drifted the car, and that's when he smirked in victory. Wine slowly let herself loose, throwing her arms up, and joined the boys yelling and having fun. This is what Jungkook had in mind, to let her have fun for a night by joining them. After a while, Jungkook let them take over him as they disappeared from his sight, chasing each other. He had slowed down his car. Jungkook, you look thrilled. Wine, it was insane. Oh god. Jungkook took her hand, holding it in his. Was she supposed to pull away? Was she supposed to resist? She just let it stay like that, surprisingly feeling so comfortable in his company, which was so rare for her. Wine, why would you help me always? Jungkook, can't say for sure. It is how it is. Wine told him she had to pay weekly instead of daily now. The two had a nice long ride where Jungkook set the speed of the car back to normal. The gentle breeze flew past them and she felt so at peace. This man had a talent to shake her insides every time he met her, without even trying. Wine, can you ask me again why I have to pay uncle money every night? Jungkook, why do you have to do that, Wine? The two were now out of the car. He stopped the car near the edge of a cliff, and she was now sitting on the bonnet of the car, while he was on the ground, leaning against the vehicle. Wine, 3 years ago, my parents were murdered. I was not home. Dad took some money from loan sharks, and honestly, I still don't know why. He had a nice job. We were well settled for as far as I remember. We didn't need an emergency fund either. Wine. Anyhow, this is what happened. He kept trying to buy time for a year, then those men lost their patience. They barged in the home and started violently asking for money. Wine. Dad tried to beg for some time, but they were not ready to listen. They saw mom, and with very wrong intention. One of that guy tried to force himself on her. Dad tried to step in. They shot him, and right afterwards, they shot her too. Jungkook stared at her while she stared at the view in front of her. It must be hard for her to go through this. But what surprised Jungkook was it had to be beyond his imagination for her to not have an ounce of painful emotion in her eyes. She looked so dead at that moment, it went shivers down his spine. When, when I came back, there was police everywhere. They were bringing out their bodies, and I saw them. My world came crashing down, losing both of them within a night. Anyhow, my uncle paid back the debt to those loan sharks. Ryan. Now, the home we are living in, he somehow got it under his name. and I practically have no place to live, so I have to feed him for that one shelter to stay on my head. Jungkook, you can support yourself with all the money you earn. Wine, I know, it's just hard. Without a stable job, I can't promise paying rent every month. Plus, I need a very big amount to pay in advance. But I'll get out of there very soon. Jungkook, oh, you will. I can see that coming. He smiled. It was after so long someone told her they believe in her. Jungkook offered Ryan to visit his place or might as well stay the night, like a friend's night over, but she politely refused. She didn't want to disturb him more than she did already. Plus, she had a job she needed to focus on. For the next few days, Jungkook would visit her at work. He noticed how she was the only one left after every other employee left. As much as tempted he was to go to the owner and break his bones, a very selfish idea popped up in his brain. Jungkook, let me do that. He threw his cigarette away and grabbed the hose from her hand. Ryan, that's not your work. Go sit down there quietly. Jungkook, I won't mess up. Ryan, I don't trust you. She smirked playfully, challenging him, and he took the challenge very seriously. Just like that, Jungkook would most of the times help her get done with her work. Before both of them knew, they would be filled in soap and water, dripping head to toe, running and chasing each other in the silent dead of the night. It was one of that night the boat got quite closed. One was panting heavily while taking a breath from her laughter and plopped down on the pavement beside Jungkook. He tapped his soap-filled finger against her nose. Ryan, go away. She pushed him, but little to her energy at that moment. He didn't even budge. Jungkook, never doing that, lady. She got quiet at that, and Jungkook noticed the shift of her mood. Jungkook, you okay? Ryan, do you realize how have you become the only reason of my happiness in this world? Ryan, and that how much it terrifies me daily that I'm going to lose this too. Jungkook stayed quiet and she panicked a little. Instantly waving off her hand, she stood up. Ryan, I'm sorry. Forget it. I'm not supposed to put you under this burden. I don't know what happened to me for a moment. Jungkook held her wrist and stood up. He pulled her closer to him and back hugged her. Ryan felt her heartbeat going insane at the closeness. Jungkook, it's not burden. Let me turn this into something promising so you won't have to fear that. Ryan, how? He slowly dug his face in the nape of her neck. Jungkook, by making you mine. He turned her towards him, keeping his arms wrapped around her. Jungkook, I know you want me, and I know what scares you. Ryan, the things that make you scared, let me handle them. I'll take care of you and your fears. But please, just because of them, don't push me away. Ryan, Jungkook, I'm scared. I'm just Jungkook. You won't lose me, Ryan. You won't ever lose me. He kissed her forehead and she closed her eyes, letting them stay closed. Jungkook, think about it. You can answer me later. He pulled her in his embrace and she held his shirt tightly. Let me drop you off home for tonight. The ride back home was silent. She was deep in thoughts, and he didn't disturb her either. Before she knew, they were home already, where she never wanted to be. Why? Good night, Jungkook. She went inside, and being so lost in Jungkook and his confession, she forgot tonight she had to pay her uncle, and he was like always waiting for her. She lost the track of time. It was almost morning. He was so drunk that he could hardly stand on his feet. She was faced with a lot of curses thrown her way as soon as she entered. It genuinely scared her. How angry and drunk he was. She instantly stepped back, opening the front door to run off and escape the situation. But before she could step out, he grabbed her by her hair and threw her inside. Uncle, do you know what is the time? How dare you make me wait whole night? Wine, I was busy earning you money. She groaned when her elbow hit the corner of the table and started to bleed. Uncle, oh, you got some tongue now. In which people have you started to sit? He spat and grabbed fork from the table and marched towards her. Wine, stop. What are you doing? She widened her eyes and crawled back instantly. Uncle, putting you back in your place, he grunted when he was punched and was thrown off to a side. Jungkook saw the door opening before he left, thankfully, and his sixth sense said that there was something wrong, and to thank his stars, he decided to check on it. He threw the old man aside and helped Wyan up, helping her sit on the chair. He turned around when the old man tried his fatal move to hit him. Another punch by Jungkook threw him on the ground completely helpless. His mouth started to bleed and he was numb for few moments. Jungkook, does that put you in your place or you want more? He clenched his jaw, anger filling his veins, and how desperately he wanted to unleash his madness on this old man. Turning towards Wine, he knelt down, wrapping a cloth around her elbow. Jungkook, it's okay. Let's get you out of here. He helped her up, wrapping an arm around her waist, supporting her. Jungkook, you have 2 hours. Run wherever you want before you end up behind the bars. That's the only mercy I can have on you for being her blood. He took her out and helped her in his car. Jungkook treated her once so carefully, never once making an eye contact with her. Why, Jungkook, what happened? Look at me. Jungkook, I never knew it was this serious. I was careless enough to let it continue. Wine, it was not your fault. Please, you don't have to take the blame. He shook his head, and she cupped his cheeks, forcing her to face him. Leaning in, she suddenly pecked his lips, and for a moment it took his breath away. Wine, does that help? Wine, what? She leaned in and kissed him. This time, and as much as he was taken aback, he kissed her back, pulling her close to him. She wrapped her arms around his neck, brushing fingers through his hair. Jungkook kept her closed, not ready to pull away. That earned a chuckle from her and brought a smile to his lips. Jungkook, God, you're so beautiful, Wine. She snuggled in his embrace. You have no idea how much I waited for you to be mine. Wine, keep your promise, Jungkook. Jungkook, I will. Wine, I will keep it.